Welcome you to AFA Today. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. Not in our normal New York studios. No, I am with you today from Southern California, and we are enjoying some beautiful weather here. I would, by the way, little announcement, I'm not going to be with you Monday through Wednesday of next week because my 10th wedding anniversary is coming up, and while we're out here doing some family-related things, we've actually had some family members that have offered to take the ankle biters for a few days, and so I'm taking the lovely bride away for our 10th for a couple of days, and then I will be back with you on Thursday and Friday of next week, and I'll probably still be coming to you from Southern California at that point, and then the following Monday I'll be back in the New York studios. So thank you for being here. And by the way, special treat, filling in for me Monday through Wednesday of next week, Mr. Steve Dace, who you hear on some of these stations weeknights. This will be an opportunity for many more of the AFR listeners to get to know who he is. And he also fills in for Brian Fisher today on Focal Point. So it's going to be a real treat for you all the way around, and we look forward to being back with you next Thursday of next week. By the way, I want to say a huge thank you. Yesterday I threw down a massive challenge because I was just heartbroken over what we had done to date for the military Bible sticks. And I want you to know that there has been a massive, massive response. There were like 200 Bible sticks that had been supported, pledged for military Bible sticks when we started yesterday's show. By the time I came on the air today, I was told that number was pushing north of 1,400. So just a reminder, there's 30,000 military men and women that have asked for them. This is still a small drop in the bucket, but it is a massive turnaround from where we were just 24 hours ago, and I really, truly appreciate it. And you probably have intended to give, and some of you still haven't yet. 800-800-2555. That's 800-800-2555. Someone wrote me last night on Facebook and said, Kev, I tried to go to the website, but had trouble with that, and I'm not sure if I give through the website, if my gift's going to get counted towards what American Family Radio is doing. I want to make sure that it is. And I shot her back the phone number. I said the easiest way to guarantee it is to call 800-800-2555, 800-800-2555. And again, for every $25 you can give, a Bible stick will be put into the hands of a military man or woman that have asked for it, that desperately need it. All right, phone lines are jammed. It is a busy Friday news-wise, and I'm interested in your thoughts. 888-589-8840. Let's start the phone calls first with, Victor in Ohio has been holding the longest. Victor, you're up first on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Kevin, and congratulations on your 10th anniversary. I wanted to say one thing real quick. Hey,
sure.
No matter how the trial turns out, whichever way it goes, we as Americans, black, white, Hispanic, whoever's over here, we can't go up in arms and go to war with one another and leave ourselves vulnerable for the people that want to see harm to us. We leave ourselves open for that. I mean, if we're God-fearing Americans, whichever way the trial goes, let's accept it, let's move on with it, and let's serve the Lord. That's all I have to say.
Victor, I love that attitude, and I think that that really embodies what Americans should be thinking. We believe in the power of the jury of one's peers to come to a conclusion. We believe in that process. Let's let these women, because it's all women on the jury, let's let these women hash it out. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to be sequestered. They're going to be looking at law. They're going to be looking at all the photos and everything that's there. Pray for a godly outcome, and pray for a godly response by those in the communities that would, and pray that those that would be tempted to use this for some sort of public demonstration or power grab or whatever, pray that those efforts are thwarted. Just pray that justice be done. Praying for justice is never wrong. So let's do that. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Micah, who's been on hold in Virginia. Micah, welcome. Glad you're with us on AFA Today. Welcome.
Hi. I actually agree with Victor. I haven't been following the trial that much until recently because I was really disappointed when the president came out and kind of tainted things, I believe, by
got involved.
Yeah. And I'm African American, and when I heard his comments, I thought that's not that's not right, because it's really making it so that it's biased to one side, and who knows if he can get a fair trial after that. And so I didn't want to be influenced one way or the other, but I have been watching it more recently, and just mainly looking at the families. And I did see where that Trayvon's family, they've come out and said that they don't want this to be about race. And I think it's really sad, because I really want to see a fair trial all the way around. And I really hope that whatever the outcome is, we are peaceful and trust the outcome that the jury has actually made. I think that if it comes out in the direction of Zimmerman, people are going to be upset. And if it comes out the opposite way, if he's convicted, I hope that people don't get upset and not actually see that perhaps they were looking at the evidence of it. And so that's why I definitely agree with Victor that especially as Christians, we need to pray for the families, pray for the best outcome, and have the Holy Spirit guide us instead of our emotions. And
well said, Micah. In fact, let me follow up on one of the ideas that you posited there. And I really do believe, some people don't know this about me. My home is a biracial family. I have a son who's adopted from Haiti, special needs. He is a grown adult now, but he has quite significant needs that he's quite dependent upon me as his dad to supply on a regular basis. He's had kind of two strikes against him. He has the special needs, has trouble reading, other things that do not allow him to function completely independently in life. And then he has darker skin than most domestic African Americans that we live around. And it's really tough. But I really, because of that reality, I really, really care about the world that he's going to inherit. And so when we have these types of things pop up in the headlines, one of the things that we try to do on a regular basis is have lots of conversations about what justice does mean, what justice looks like, what is truth, what role does truth play in the outcome of different things. And I think one of the things that has been, and thank you for the call, Mike, I think one of the things that has been misunderstood here is that people that have defended Zimmerman are not necessarily saying in any regard that they're happy that Trayvon Martin died. I think everyone, defenders of Zimmerman, supporters of the Martin family, I think people on all sides say it's a tragedy that somebody died here. But I also think justice is not served if we say, for instance, in order to get second-degree murder, one of the things that you have to do in Florida law is to prove that he had, willful intent. Well, if he didn't express anything other than, hey, what are you doing here? I'm the night watch guy, and, we've had break-ins, and I'm, if there wasn't anything more than, I'm just checking what's going on. By the way, there are no laws. It was interesting. I was doing some research on this yesterday. There are no laws in Florida that if you have someone under suspicion that fits maybe a description of, whatever, that you can't follow them at least far enough to get information about where you're at so you can report to authorities the suspicious activity. I think it's totally conceivable that Martin may have thought Zimmerman was up to no good and got mad about it. I also think it's totally conceivable that Zimmerman thought Martin was up to no good and needed to be reported. I find it completely conceivable that they misunderstood each other from the beginning. And based on Martin's past, his tendency to start fights and stuff, I find the narrative that Zimmerman has told to be rather believable, that when he returned to his truck, Martin jumped out, jumped him. They got into the fisticuffs. Zimmerman ended up on the ground, head being bashed against the cement, and Martin ended up dead. But I don't think anybody's walking away from this story going, hey, yeah, that's what should have happened. No, I don't think anybody's doing that. And what I'm afraid of is if Zimmerman does get acquitted, that people are going to say, well, he, First of all, they keep saying he's a white guy, which he isn't. He's Latino. But there's this assumption that a black child dies and nobody cares. Well, if there's no place where that's really more evident than in the inner cities of our nations, where black-on-black crime, black-on-black youth, specifically male youth, are killing each other at such exorbitant rates, and we don't seem to have any social will to change that. Our nation, nobody talks about it. Nobody campaigns on it. Nobody says anything about it when they run for office. Nobody has come up with solutions on how to solve it. I mean, so it's easy to say, well, nobody cares about the death of a black person when it's done at the hands of a Latino man. But if the truth were told, if we really cared about justice, we'd be just as heartbroken about every single kid that gets shot down in Chicago and Philly and Detroit and the Bronx on a regular basis as well. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Buddy calling from Texas next. Hi, Buddy. Welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Thank you for taking my call, Kevin.
Sure thing.
Yes, everything went haywire on this the problem that we had, but the president didn't have to waste our money on haggling like they did. And I do believe he was the one, because he's the president.
So what you're referring to specifically, Buddy, is that when the Department of Justice used monies to rally anti-George Zimmerman forces, to rally them together, you're saying the president should be held accountable for that. That's one of the questions that's up at the One News Now poll. Who should be responsible for the money that the Department of Justice spent to help sponsor those rallies? OneNewsNow.com is where you can vote in that, OneNewsNow.com. Let's go to Jim, who's calling from North Carolina. Jim, welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough, and we're glad that you're here.
Yes, thank you for taking my call, Kevin. I have two comments, and it's based on the judge and based on some of the comments you made earlier. Two things about the judge. She appears to be, just in my observation, she appears to be collaborating with the prosecution as well as being hostile to the defense. If I'm George Zimmerman, I'm kind of wondering what, is she having influence on the jury? Because the judge, in my opinion, she appears to be operating out of a fear of reprisal, that should a judgment of not guilty come back, and there is an uprising, there is riots out there, that people may come after her, and I think that's going to be a way of her covering her bases, saying, hey, I gave the prosecution every chance. I tried to support them in every way I could, so it's not my fault. Don't look at me. That's just my observation.
I think there may be something to that, Jim, and there's other speculation that there may be higher politicians that have personally intervened with her, that have, sure, implied you want promotion or you want greater consideration from where you're at now, you play along. And there's more than just speculation. I've actually got a link to that up on my Facebook page that people can go and read. You can decide for yourself, but it's certainly within the realm of possibility. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. You didn't have another point? I thought you had 2 points.
No, that was it. The 2 points were, again, she appears to be collaborating with the prosecution, and I felt the point of that was out of fear of reprisal, so that everyone who can go back and look at everything with this trial, transcripts, whatever, can say, well, see, I did my part.
Right. There's a certain degree of I don't want it on my hands if it goes bad at the end of the day. And I don't know. Can you blame anybody that's in that courtroom? I mean, this is going to be seen as the most contentious trial that's been held probably since the Rodney King or the OJ trials. Nobody's in a win situation here. Nobody wins out of this. Let's talk to I think you say it, Brenoris, calling from Merriam, Arkansas. Brenoris, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today.
Okay, thank you. Hi, just a couple of points.
Sure.
I'm in agreement that the Justice Department was definitely wrong for what they did. Now, I'm a big fan of Sean Hannity. I like him a lot. But my problem is that Sean Hannity, after one day of testimony, Now, he was the only one that interviewed, from what I understand, he was the only one interviewed Zimmerman. And based on his interview with Zimmerman and one day of testimony, he said the trial was over. Now, there's always two sides to every story. Martin did not get a chance to tell his story. Now, let's just say, isn't it possible that Martin saw the gun, Martin thought he was going to die. If Zimmerman shot him, Martin had no intention of killing him. He saw this big guy coming after him. He didn't know. He was afraid. They get into the scuffle. Martin ends up going to win the fight, but had no intention of killing Zimmerman. Isn't it possible that he shot this guy and his life was not threatened? Is that possible?
Just one question, Brenoris. When you refer to the big guy, who are you referring to?
Zimmerman coming after Martin.
Right. Because actually Martin was a larger human being than Zimmerman at that time. Zimmerman now weighs about 100 pounds more than he did then, but Martin was taller than Zimmerman and outweighed him on the day of the fight.
Okay.
So just wanted you to make sure you understood that. But
okay.
No, I think it's possible. I think they both misunderstood each other. I don't think that either one of them. I think in the back of Zimmerman's head, you've got, okay, we've had this recent rash of burglaries in the homes right there in that neighborhood by youths in hoodies. Now he didn't indicate that they were black youths or anything, but he just said youths in hoodies had been breaking into the different houses and stealing stuff. His next door neighbor, he went and got a sliding door lock that they could put down in the jamb so that it wouldn't be able to open anymore. Some of those types of things. He was concerned about that. It's a rainy night. Here comes a youth in a hoodie. It wasn't because he was black. It was because youths in hoodies don't walk around in the rain usually, unless there's something weird going on. So I think he had concerns, and that wasn't Martin's fault. That's based on the history of the neighborhood. But at the end of the day, to prove murder one or murder two, you've got to prove that he went there looking to pick the fight, looking to put himself in a situation and to kill Martin with intent. And I don't think that that's been proven. I could be wrong, but I didn't see it from what I heard in the trials. It's 19 minutes before the hour. Stay with us. I'm Kevin McCullough. This is AFA Today.